Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here again, and it's an honor today to present our third webinar with Suresh Chitturi. Suresh is the chairman of International Oil Commission and vice chairman of managing director of Srinivasa Farm in India. As always, this presentation is going to be recorded and will be open in our platforms in the next couple of days. And also, we will share the presentation. So it's more than an honor, Suresh, to present you, and thank you very much for your time and your passion for the industry. Time is yours, amigo.
Thank you, Rodolfo. Thank you very much for the invitation, for having me talk about eggs and the future, not only next 2 years, this year, but over the next few years. Again, everyone who's on the call and later joining later and maybe watching the recording, again, thank you for being part of this, and hopefully we have a good lively interaction at the end of this. So let me go. So I'm going to talk about outlook and opportunities for the global poultry, for the global egg industry in 2022. So these are the top egg producers in the world. China is by far the most dominating. I think about so about 35% of the world's eggs are in China. So China, I think, is bigger than the next 5 or 6 put together. So USA is number 2, India is number 3. We are very close to US now. I think I expect over the next 2-3 years we should overtake US. And you can see the remaining countries. So these numbers are from 2019, and I think in 2020 the numbers are much closer. Indian numbers are much closer to US. And if you see also, I think Asia makes up for roughly, okay, let me have that graph too. So Asia makes up to roughly about more than 50% of the global, or close to 60%, I think, of the global egg consumption, production and consumption today. And it's still growing, especially because countries like India are growing much faster. Even China is growing too. China is not stopped. So if you see from 1962, when Asia was like very, very small number, if you see, it's grown quite significantly. And then I expect this to continue. And I think the next growth will come from Africa in a major way. And then I think even South and Central America will also increase quite significantly over the next 10 to 20 years. I believe the next 10 years is primarily going to be India growth, which will be very high, and then Africa should start growing then, and rest of the world. So eggs nourish and support millions of people every year. And there are about 2 million, close to 2 million egg farmers globally now. Most, of course, are in China right now, but in India there are a lot of egg farmers, and of course coming up, and I don't think there is any real data, but still I would guess about 70% of the egg farmers globally are small farmers. China especially is 90% of the production is, the average farm size is less than, I think is around 12,000 birds. So and so there are thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of egg farmers, not only providing fantastic nutrition, to people, to children, women, and everybody, but also to giving a lot of employment opportunities and livelihoods globally. This is the global egg consumption 2010 versus 2020. What has happened? India, I believe, we believe is the latest numbers are just coming out, but I think it's a little higher than what it's been projected. So UK, Brazil, as you can see, is one of the fastest growing and highest growing. I don't know, I don't think Canada is here, but Canada itself has grown. They have added 50% on the in the last 10 years. So, so this is what's happened in the last 10 years. Mexico, as most of you know, has the highest per capita consumption, is at 380 eggs now. Japan is next, a little under 350. Colombia is doing very well. US, I think the most disappointing is European countries, which are, I think, which need to significantly increase the consumption. Just a little bit, I want to talk about India, what has happened in the last 50 years. You can see we were in single digits per capita in 1960. 1965 is when my father started an egg farm in India, and then in 1970 he was responsible for founding the biggest poultry Venkateshwara hatcheries, and through that is when the Indian poultry started and egg production has really gone up. So 2021 government is saying we are above at around 85 eggs per capita now. So that's the story in India, and I think it will continue to grow at least for next 10, 12 years quite significantly. We are seeing during COVID period, the consumption has really gone up. People are recognizing the importance of egg for great metabolic health. Maybe a little later, I will talk about that a little bit more. So this is again, the numbers are, I think, are from 19 or 20, and if you see, we are catching up to US quite rapidly. I think this year, official numbers government is saying is close to 115, so I think we will. I think in the next year or two, we should overtake US and then continue. I don't know if we'll catch up to China anytime soon, but then I think we should get close to that over the next 20 years. So market size is about it's about 45 crores. A crore is 10 million, and it's growing at 6 to 8%. And the interesting number here is every egg consumed more in India creates 35,000 jobs. Every egg per capita consumed more creates 35,000 jobs. So that's the true opportunity going forward. When we are going to get to 300 eggs, you can understand the millions of jobs that will be created by the poultry industry. In addition to tackling, the nutritional needs of the country. So I think that's the significant thing that's going to keep happening over the next 20 years. So that's why we are very excited about it. And then I think this, I expect more or less will be replicated in countries like Africa, in countries in Africa where I think poultry will play a significant role in creating jobs and addressing people's nutrition needs, as Africa itself is going to probably add 1 billion people over the next 50, 60 years to population. So I think with the growth of this thing and population and people's demand for better nutrition, I think eggs have a phenomenal opportunity. So yeah, 21, 22, due to COVID and all that, I think some parts of the country have have witnessed some fall in production and consumption, mostly in the western part because they lost market for. While I think the shell egg demand grew significantly, but they lost a lot of market on the process side because most of the restaurants were closed in 2021 quite a lot due to lockdowns and all that. But I think that is fast recovering now. But I expect the industry to really start jumping from this year, demand to keep growing. I think this is where the industry has a job to do, and I'll come to that. What is IEC doing, and what is the new next 10-year plan on increasing demand for our eggs? So again, talking a little about Indian we are looking at per capita consumption by 2040. I think by end of this decade, we think we will get close to this is actually an old study, almost 7, 8 or more than 10 years old study. But I think today, by 2030, I feel we will get close to 200 eggs and maybe 300 by 2040 and maybe a little bit more by 2040. By 2040, India's population is expected to grow to 1.6 billion. That's about 0.3 billion more than right now. So egg consumption, I anticipate will increase fourfold in the next 17, 18 years. I think, but then it all depends on how we handle that. How do we project the goodness of egg and the benefits of eggs to the consumers? I think we have not been very good at that, doing that across the world. I think we have not been very good at communicating the goodness of egg. And I think we've been very good, fantastic at focusing on production, making improvements on productivity. But I think in the area of marketing and in the area of, educating consumers on, also I think the medical fraternity about nutrition and the importance and how this is, I think we have not done a very good job. I think it's time for us to keep focusing on that. Canada did a very good job over the last 10 years, and that's why their consumption has increased 50%. And I think they are targeting over the next few years to be the highest per capita in the world, and that's, I think, Canadian egg industry's target. Again, eggs are well positioned. I think they're phenomenally well positioned, if you ask me. They're affordable, high efficiency, flexible distribution, low labor use. Challenges, of course, are feed cost, labor, animal welfare, distribution, environment. Avian influenza, I think, is a big threat to us, our industry. But I think, I don't know how many of you know, it has the highest absorption, this thing, for any foods, any proteins, actually. Whole egg is one of the best in terms of how much the body absorbs. If I'm not wrong, it's about close to 46%. All other meats, chicken, pork, beef, all of them are, I think, around 20 to 23%. And plant proteins are in single digits. The body's ability to use it and absorb it is that, and that's where the egg is. That's why it's known as one of the most perfect foods, right? Eggs have the potential to play an essential role in the biggest challenge we face as a society, which is feeding our growing population and eradicating malnourishment in an environmentally sustainable way. Eggs are already, again, one of the most sustainable animal proteins. And if you actually look at bang for the buck, I mean, for what it delivers, as I was mentioning earlier, about 45% this thing. And if you look at it from there, I think it competes with almost all the plant proteins too. And I think one thing we all need, which I myself discovered recently in my own journey of my nutrition, is, the body's ability to use amino acids is limited by the lowest amino acid available. So of the 9, let's say 9 essential amino acids, if one of them is the body is only getting 10% of the day, then all the other amino acids it eats are also utilized only up to 10%. So that means it's pretty much, so most of plant protein is wasted if you don't marry it with a perfect this thing, and which is where I think eggs play a phenomenal role. So you ask me over the next 20 years, I think although we are now saying a standard of 1 egg a day, but I think the real standard is at least 2 eggs a day, which is what we can achieve if we work together and create that thing with doctors, with nutritionists, and with consumers. So I wanted to share this story, which some years back, I think about 7 or 8 years back, a friend of mine was supporting some children from slums in sailing, and he was training them for sales. These are children whose parents were probably not even making $1 a day, so he was training them, and he asked me to come around to see what was happening there. I went, and he had mentioned that the children, technique wise and all that, they're fantastic, they're doing very well, but they're losing energy towards the end, and they're not able to maintain the momentum till the end of the race. And it was a casual conversation. He didn't then I said, hey, I know the perfect product for you. So I offered him 2 eggs a day for every child, and we started giving him that, and within 6 months the children started winning national awards, and now it's been 6 or 7 years. Some of them I think have also gone to represent India at many international events, and they're doing fantastically well now. So that's one, that's the magic of eggs. Just 2 eggs a day is all those children needed to become champions. And there are many cases like that of what eggs have been able to do. After that, I kind of looking at that, then I also started offering eggs to somebody who was again training cyclists in the country, again poor children who were coming from very, very small poor backgrounds, and then again we started doing that, and even there now these children are actually going for national championships, which almost was not available for many of these children. Only people who were from maybe middle class or high well-to-do families used to go before. Now the coaches was telling me that we didn't realize that this is all that needed. 2 eggs a day made such a big difference to these children. So I think that's the beauty of eggs, and the perfect package they are, where not only are they a fantastic nutrition, the most affordable, it creates millions of jobs in future. It's more profit for all of us, more business, more opportunities for everybody involved in the industry. That said, nutrition and economically, the egg has always been unbeatable. However, we are currently facing a threat. The world, activists, multinational companies, NGOs, and food startups are attacking business that depends on animal protein, including the egg industry. Many corporates are looking at these alternate proteins as huge opportunity to make lots of money. Even though most of the protein that is coming out of plants is, again, as I was explaining earlier, is incomplete protein, and at a large level it's practically useless, and it's ultra processed, and so they are not. And of course, you're seeing some reaction now in the public on that. So the poster boy of these things, I think, Beyond Meat is the stock market is collapsing. It's made the history of the company that is stock that is most shorted now, and also its production. I mean, its consumption also is coming down. The demand is coming down. So in some ways, but still, they are being backed by billionaires. I think the net value of the people backing these startups is about $1.4 trillion. And they see this as a huge opportunity to get IP on this and make crazy profits, which is not how our businesses operate, right? We don't operate on multi, 10, 20, 30% margins. So, and they see us as an obstacle for them to make a lot of money, because again, protein is the most important macro. Protein and fat are two very, very important macros for people's having great metabolic health. And I think, and that's why they are seeing this as, if they get us out of the way, then, they can corner that and make billions of dollars of profits. So there was a start, I don't know how many of you are aware, there was a strong campaign at the UN Food Systems Summit to halve the livestock production and consumption by 2040. And this is what the Impossible Burger CEO has said very openly. We plan to take a double-digit portion of the beef market within 5 years. And then we can push that industry, which is fragile and has low margins, into a death spiral. Then we just point to the pork industry and the chicken industry and say, you are next, and they will go bankrupt even faster. I think, unfortunately for Patrick, he's actually the one in that situation. But I think that this is because we have, over the last year and a half, gotten together with the other animal protein guys. We worked very hard and exposed some of the conversations happening. I don't know how many of you know that even on as I said, the products, the plant protein products and even the cell protein products are no match for the real thing. And second is, even as per their own admission by the Good Food Institute, which is the institute promoting all this, formed by all these companies that are trying to replace us. Chicken and eggs on sustainability too, the new age way of making it are no match to chicken and eggs on sustainability. Chicken and eggs, and this is, they are taking what we have been doing years back, the progress we are making over the next few years. I think we will get even better. Okay, but then by working together, this happened. I want to share what happened. There was something phenomenal that came out of that. The UN recently named eggs as a star ingredient, highlighting the amazing power of eggs to bring people together, nourish us, and fuel our future. So this was for a mission that started wanting to halve us. In the end, this is what they declared eggs as a star ingredient. One of the two, there are only two, beans and eggs, that they declared as star ingredients. So I'm going to play the video that they made for this for the World Food Day.
When is an egg not just an egg? When it's that magic ingredient, when it's breakfast, brain food, or family time, when it's closing the deal or fueling a nation. But it can be a culture's star ingredient or play a powerful role in the gatherings we treasure. It can pay the bills or be the promise of food on the table each night. It can be a timeless tradition or a brighter future. Farmed properly, an egg can nourish billions and protect our world for the next generation. And when that egg is made with love, you remember it for a lifetime. It's not just an egg, it's so much more. Good food is everything. Join the conversation. Search UN Good Food for All.
So, as you can imagine, for where we started at the conversation, where they wanted to, pretty much the game was to finish animal industry. We managed to get the UN to do this. So I think IEC did a phenomenal job in that year in the UN Food System Summit.
When it's an egg, not just an egg.
I think I'll play it once more.
When it's that magic ingredient. When it's breakfast, brain food, or family time. When it's closing the deal or fueling a nation. And it can be a culture's star ingredient or play a powerful role in the gatherings we treasure. It can pay the bills or be the promise of food on the table each night. It can be a timeless tradition or a brighter future. Farmed properly, an egg can nourish millions and protect our world for the next generation. And when that egg is made with love, you remember it for a lifetime. It's not just an egg, it's so much more. Good food is everything. Join the conversation. Search UN Good Food for All.
So as you can imagine, it's been it happened because we worked together, and for sure is one of the proudest moments for me to have this. It's kind of a coup. So and then yeah, so in the way eggs bind together ingredients, we as an industry are inspired to bind together to create a bright future. So that's the game now for the next 10 years for IEC and for the egg industry is what. So this is the game to get to a standard of 1 egg per day per person. We need to highlight egg nutrition and spread the word about its extraordinary benefits, focusing on equally extraordinary goal to promote the consumption of eggs. The present global consumption is 165 eggs. So the game is over the next 10 years. Vision 365 is what we are calling it, is a new 10-year plan for the IEC or the international egg industry, which aims to develop the nutritional reputation of eggs on an international scale to accelerate global average egg consumption to 365 per person per year. So, so that's the game, a vibrant and growing movement which will position eggs as essential food for health and health, more opportunities, and as I said, it's the most sustainable protein. So it's something that will help the world do more with less, the greatest bang for the buck, and of course, huge opportunities for everyone. So again, my inspiration for Vision 365 is my own health. What I did with my own health, which is, I was about 110 kilos 3 years back. Today I'm at 80. So I lost, and eggs played a significant role in improving my health. And that's where I want to, okay. So I want to talk about this. The metabolic health is a priority for the post-pandemic era. I don't know how many of you know. It's the science is clear that most of the people, most of the serious health situations and mortalities have happened in people whose metabolic health has been compromised, which is overweight, high triglycerides, glucose. So those are the people who have been maximum affected. 90% of the people who got hit and had a bad, and mortality was in those people. And I think eggs play the most important role if you want to have a great metabolic health. So as the numbers say, 39 million people under the age of 5 are overweight around the world. 1.9 billion adults are overweight or obese globally. So 1 in 11 of the world's population are estimated to be living with diabetes. And these are all the people who are actually in major risk from the pandemic. 2 eggs can provide 20% of your daily recommended intake. I think this is also, to me, as per what I am following now, 2 eggs provide about 12%. I think the daily recommended is a very, very low number. I think people should eat at least double of that. So if you look at that, so eggs, even eating 2 eggs will not even give you, more than 12% of your daily needs. So adding 2 eggs is a phenomenal, but then I think no other food gives you the bang for the buck as 2 eggs gives. As well, and it's just not protein, it's these other vitamins, nutrients, minerals that eggs provide. So eating 2 eggs actually gives you 50% of your B12 for a day. I mean, I eat 4 because that's how I get my 100% of whatever it is, and what I need. And as I said, my today the doctor says, I'm healthier now than I was in 20s. And I think that's where I think eggs do a phenomenal job. And that's why I think it's not 1 egg a day, it's 2 egg a day, which should be the global standard. And I think that's where I think I'm very excited about the future next 20 years for our egg industry. This goal will impact lives and health of billions of people worldwide, also creating opportunities for entrepreneurs. Promoting egg consumption will generate exponential growth in our industry. I mean, even if you say over the next 30 years, we want to get to 2 eggs a day standard. So that is almost 400% growth for us. So that's phenomenal. And in a country like India, it's actually 10x growth. So that's what excites me a lot. Thank you for listening. Rodolfo, I think now, I'm open to questions. I think you can, if anyone of you have, I think you can use the Q&A. So I will stop sharing. Yeah.
Suresh, thank you very much for your very nice presentation and very eye-opening. Like you say, we will open the space here for a few questions, but I have a few questions taking advance that we are in this platform right now. This recording, like we say at the beginning, will be open, and after this live presentation, we have thousands of views. So I was surprised, Suresh. Since maybe 3 weeks, I start seeing some advertisement from KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken in the US, selling a veggie chicken meat. So their marketing strategy is, okay, this tastes like a chicken, but it's not like a chicken. It's 100% veggie. So you just mentioned the mentality of some people trying to go in that way. So what's your opinion about this trend right now? Really serious globally, and how they may affect the industry?
So I think the reality now, if you're seeing Rodolfo, is that people are concerned about the environment. People are worried about the environment, and they've been fed a lot of misinformation over the last 40 years about eating more meat and what happens and all that, and people are thinking that is there. But the truth is, 90% of the people who are trying, who are experimenting with veganism are not sticking with it. So the global average is 90% of them are coming back within a year. Point one. Point two, I think now the information is coming out, right? People are getting more knowledgeable. I think there was a certain time period, because again, as I said, this industry, these things are being promoted by people who are founders of Facebook, Twitter, and all that, and Bill Gates and World Economic Forum and all that. So there's a lot of money and media which is pushing this. So they had a good run till so far, which was unchallenged run on the claims, but now those claims are being challenged. And people are finding out that actually the health is going down, because of these products. And I think that's what Now, KFC is, as a business would do, they are doing this because they think they can make some extra money. But I think, but I have a feeling it's going to flop soon. And I think not feeling, I will bet that the offtake would not be much at all. There will be some experimentation over the next few weeks or months, but eventually I don't see this, really taking hold. And again, another interesting fact that also research is now showing is that people who are, how do you say, like real vegans, they'll never come to a KFC to eat. That's the reality. They are not eating, and then they are saying, hey, if we are vegans, why do we want the taste of chicken and beef? We are vegans because we don't want that. So that's the truth. Is people, hardcore vegans, vegetarians are not going to try this anyway. There is a small bit of population who's going to experiment and probably will stick with it. But the evidence right now, Rodolfo, it's something we have to keep tracking for sure. I wouldn't, want us to get too arrogant about this. We have to track this. But I am, because it's been around for some 4-5 years now. So the evidence doesn't suggest that people will, and especially if you then look at the developing world, the 6.5 billion people outside of Europe and US, I think the price of this is going to be unviable for them. And also the people who are coming out with these products, they are in this to make high margins. So they are not, and they will have no interest if they come down to the margin levels at which we operate.
Okay, and my next question is Suresh is tied to this, is because it was more clear for me in your presentation that communication and sharing the benefit of the eggs is a mission that everybody that is in this industry, I think we need to carry that same idea, that same commitment. So how is the international commission working? Is this a global effort, or is just working with some, let's say, associations globally? So maybe for the audience, can you explain a little bit more how the egg commission is working globally?
This is a global effort, Rodolfo. We just started. We're going to launch it in the next few days. And a lot of companies have already signed up, and we inviting everyone, producers, associations, everybody to be part of this. And the idea is, yes, to bring everybody together and create the communication and the ideas and learn from each other. What can we learn? Like, what did Canada do? Then how can we teach that to, I don't know, to India, to South Africa, to anyone else? And how did Colombia get to so high? So what can we learn from Colombia, and can we take it to I don't know, Kenya, places like that? So it is a global effort, Rodolfo.
Okay, here we have a question for anonymous attendee. How severe is the give me a second. How severe is the avian influenza situation in Europe, and how will it affect the egg industry there in the long run if vaccines are not introduced?
So I don't know if I can't answer how severe is the situation, although I know the European Union is now seriously looking at vaccination, and I think they are working towards that. They definitely want to experiment with that and see. And I think so. I was at OIE recently, and I've seen them, discuss. They're discussing that, and I think vaccination is now seriously on the table. it's seriously on the table, and I think it will go forward. Of course, it will take time. It is not going to happen in the next few months, but at least now it's a serious discussion that's going on, and I think once EU takes a call, I hope and I expect the rest of the world also to start looking at that seriously. So yeah.
Okay, we have another question here for an anonymous attendee. How did COVID impact egg production in India, and is India production back to pre-COVID period?
So I think in India, we are actually dealing with excess production right now. We have, I think production is back to pre-COVID levels. But what has also happened a lot is a lot of informal sector, a lot of small farms. Production has gone up a lot in very, very small farms through, local governments encouraging, very, very small order, like 100 birds, 200 birds and all that. And I think so Indian production has really gone up. And if the numbers are not officially out, but from what they're saying in the last 2 years, I think we have added close to 12 to 14 eggs per capita. So that's the highest growth ever I think we have ever seen. And of course, our bigger challenge is feed prices have gone berserk. Soya has in the, it's 100%, 200% of what it was 2 years back at the same time. And last year, I think for a brief period, it went up 300% higher for a couple of months. So it's and we are dealing with that. It's a pretty bad situation for us right now. Okay. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions. Rodolfo, any questions you have?
No, I think that we don't have any more questions or from any of the participants right now. I just have one comment, Suresh, regarding the message of nutrition. For example, you shared that in Mexico, they have a very high egg consumption globally. But in the other hand, also in Mexico, they as far maybe 3 years ago, Mexico has the higher level globally of child obesity. So we are part of the industry. We have so much work to do sharing the message. I really like the end of your presentation related our industry to our personal healthy goals. So that's some homework that we as industry we need to keep pushing.
Yeah, I think the problem, especially in Mexico and all that, is amount of carbs children are eating. And actually, if they switch their macros, to and there was a problem, Rodolfo, I think from 80s, the nutritionists and the policy makers got it completely wrong. They were recommending 50% of your daily calories from carbs, and then they brought down I think protein to less than, I think about 15-20%, which to me should be the other way. At least carbs should not be more than 20%, and protein and fat should split equally. And I think that if you do, then you will start noticing your weight go down, your metabolic conditions, which is your your cholesterol, your everything else really will start. You will start seeing them. People with diabetes they will see that their blood glucose is coming down. People can get off medication. Of course, it won't happen in a week, but it will take between 3 months to start showing those results. But that is surely the best way, and I think that's where the opportunity is for us, Rodolfo, is that to educate people about that.
Yeah, completely agree. So thank you very much, Suresh, for your time and effort and everything that you are doing globally and in India. Thank you for the people that connect to see this presentation live, and thank you to all the people that is going to be seeing this recording later. And again, I really like the message of communication and being together. So thank you very much for everybody, and have the very nice rest of your days, wherever you are.
Rodolfo, for the opportunity
Thank you.
again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.